G'day everybody, Nick here from Super Cheap CPAP, and today I'm going to be talking a little bit about CPAP machine noise, or CPAP noise in general. There's a common misconception about CPAP therapy that it's very noisy. When they first started to make CPAP machines, they were quite big and quite loud, and I think that those early day models obviously created a bit of a negative stigma about CPAP therapy, that it's very noisy and there's a pump that, you know, a big motor generated in the sound in the room. Nearly all the machines on the market these days are very quiet. They're all generally below 30 decibels operating noise level, and this is quite a low level of noise. And considering most people will stop snoring, which is generally much louder than 30 decibels, it's normally a lot quieter. Then the room would be a lot quieter compared to someone who's snoring and carrying on. With the CPAP machines themselves, there are a few things you can do to make the noise even quieter. The first thing you would do is the actual position. A lot of people get this wrong. A lot of people set up their CPAP machines on the bedside table, which is obviously a very convenient spot to put them because it's right there next to the bed, and I can see how that would be very tempting to do. But you've got to remember that being right there and right next to your head where you're sleeping, it is going to be noisier. The other thing, doing it this way is not a good idea because it generally creates a bit of a loop in the tubing, and if you don't have heated tubing, sometimes you get rain out, and the rain out tends to build in that spot. So if you do read your manual, most of the providers will say that the correct position is below the bed height. So if you can put it right down near the ground, maybe just off the ground, because down on the ground tends to be a bit dusty, that's the correct place to have your CPAP machine. There's a few good reasons for that. One is it's obviously down on the ground, so it's not right there up high next to your ear. The second is that the bed itself, if you do have someone else in the bed with you, the bed itself acts as a bit of a sound absorber. It's a mattress, and being down there, the sound itself has to come up, and the mattress absorbs a lot of that noise. So that's a good little tip for you. Where a lot of the noise comes from these days is actually the masks. So if you don't have a good seal on your mask, generally you'll get a lot of noise coming out at that area at the end. All masks also have an exhalation port, which enables the air to escape. And depending on the make of the mask, different masks have different exhalation ports, and they can be quite noisy at that spot as well, especially if you get some condensation in it. The air sometimes whistles and carries on. So it's important that we've got a nicely fitted mask that's sealing very well, and B, also we're updating our seals on our mask, because the seal, which should be replaced at least once a year. If it's not, you will get a lot more air leaks, and the therapy will be a lot more noisier. So a nice fresh CPAP seal, a cushion or a pillow, will generally seal a lot better. It's also important that you're washing that seal so that it's nice and clean. If you're a male and you've got facial hair, if you're not going to trim it up, that's fine, but you will get a lot more air leaks, and the therapy will be a lot more noisy. If you've got nice smooth, sorry about that. If you've got a nice clean mask, it will seal a lot better. Yeah, and if you've got a nice cleanly shaven face, especially if you've got a full face mask, you'll get a much nicer mask seal, and that will lead to a quieter mask. So if you do have someone who is highly sensitive to noise, and they wake up at the drop of a match, or at any sort of noise, then there are certain masks that have diffusers on the exhalation ports, or really quiet exhalation ports. Some off the top of my head is the Eson has a diffuser, the Zest Q has a diffuser, the AirFit P10 has a very quiet mesh exhalation port, and the Polero Q also has a diffuser on them. So those masks tend to be very quiet in terms of the exhalation port, but you still got to remember that you've got to get that nice good seal happening as well. Another thing that you probably want to try and do is, if you're finding that the noise is an issue, generally as the pressure goes up in the therapy, the motor obviously is working harder, so you will have more noise. If you fine-tune your CPAP and use your data like I've shown in some of the videos, you can try and bring that pressure down as low as possible. This will aid in a lot of things. One, it'll make the therapy more comfortable. Two, it'll mean that your mask will seal a lot better. And three, the therapy will be quieter because the machine's not having to run that motor as hard to push the pressure out. So if you don't know what I'm talking about with that, basically what you're doing is you're using the data from your CPAP machine, in particular what we call the apnea-hypopnea index, and we look at that number, and if that number's below 5, what we can do is, if you're on a fixed pressure CPAP machine, you can actually learn how to change the CPAP pressure. It's not very difficult to do. You can call me or get on the online chat and I'll teach you how to do it. You can drop that pressure down, and what we can do is we can keep monitoring our apnea-hypopnea index on the screen of your CPAP machine, and each night you can look at it, each morning you can look at it, and if it's not going above 5, you know that your breathing is very well controlled, and you can keep bringing that pressure down as long as that number is below 5. So that's a good thing to do. If you've got an automatic, you can play around with the upper limit of the automatic machine, bring it down. Okay, keep an eye on the AHI, the apnea-hypopnea index. Bring it down, and if it's staying really low, you can keep capping that pressure lower and lower. It just means that the pressure won't go up as high, and that way your machine will stay more quiet. What else is there that you can do? That's probably the main things. Some of the machines do differ a little bit in terms of noise. They all have a bit of a unique noise about them. So generally the higher end machines that cost a little bit more tend to be a little bit quieter than the cheaper brands, but it's not a huge, we don't think it's a huge variation in noise level. But if you're ultra sensitive, you're probably better off getting one of those higher end machines. Another thing that you might want to look at is if your machine has a pressure relief function, whether it be called EPR or C-Flex or Smart Flex or Res Flex, whatever the flex mode is that actually drops the pressure as you breathe out. That tends to make the therapy a little bit noisier as well, because there's a bit of a shift in the noise as the machine goes from dropping the pressure to increasing to dropping to increasing. So that itself tends to make the machines a bit noisier, and it's sort of a breathing noise which can irritate some people. So you can turn that off, which will mean that the noise is at least a consistent sort of a hum, rather than that sort of shifting breathing sort of noise. So there's a few good tips, and obviously the last thing you can do is get some earplugs if you're struggling with the noise, or get the partner some earplugs. There's plenty of really good earplugs that will help with that as well. So thanks for watching the video. As always, make sure you like it if you did. If you don't, well, that's fine as well. You can subscribe to our YouTube channel. Check us out on Facebook, supercheapcpap.com. Facebook.com/supercheapcpap. If you need some help, you can jump on our website. We've got an online chat facility that's free for anyone to use for advice or anything like that. We're also about to start a forum where good people like yourselves can get on and ask each other questions, talk about experiences, and really get involved in your CPAP. So I hope you enjoyed the video, hope you're getting a good night's sleep, and I hope your CPAP therapy is quiet. Thanks. Bye.